Yes, all right then, lads. Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We are back again. We have got ourselves a show in the evening. It will be airing every 8 p.m. Every 8 p.m. Make sure you're locked in at Cossy's Arsenal podcast, and every morning at 10 p.m. Make sure you're also locked in at Cossy's Arsenal podcast. So those are the two shows we'll be having on a daily basis, unless we do have a breaking news, a breaking story, or a guest on. But those will be our two daily shows. Definitely, I'll be doing a couple of uploads and cutouts, but the two live shows, 10 a.m. in the morning and 8 p.m. in the evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from, in all parts of the world. We are here to discuss a couple of stories around Arsenal, especially the fact that now we have spent 142 million pounds. Are we good to go? We got in a right back, we got in an attacking midfielder, we got in a defensive midfielder, we have a backup goalkeeper. Are we good to go? Mikel, is there any excuse now? Was he backed? Was he not backed? How would you rate the window? And how would you rate our signings? Or how do I rate our signings out of 10? We are going to be diving into that. There are also stories to speak about Vinay, who is our club CEO. Definitely, everybody should know Vinay. If you support Arsenal Football Club, he's our club CEO. Has been speaking around, has been speaking about the situation with Arsenal, and he actually said that the project, the youth project, is going to be held and handled by Mikel Arteta. So we will dive into that. We'll try to get into some of the, some of the quotes and some of the, most important parts of his speech, because he said, Project Youth Arsenal is what we want to do. Players, young players that can develop with Mikel. So it looks like Mikel is here to stay, and Mikel Arteta is not going to be sacked anytime soon. Granit Xhaka has also reacted to his red card, and he said, is it prejudice against him, or is it targeted? I mean, I would love to get your thoughts on that red card over the weekend. We had a lot of transfer speculation, and then we forgot to dive into the aftermath of the game. Was it a red card? Was it a brutal foul, or wasn't it? I mean, we will look at some pictures, of that incident. Personally, I thought it was a red card, not because he brutally injured the player, or not because he didn't touch the ball, because in his defense he says, I 100% hit the ball, I 100% meet the ball. I don't know why it is a red card, and I think it is absolutely unfair. So we will talk about that as well. We will talk about that as well, and try to understand what exactly did go right or did go wrong. Did we get the right players? Did Xhaka really deserve to get a red card? And more. Do smash a like on the video, people. Do subscribe to the channel as well. It really means a lot, especially in terms of helping out the channel. Let's get the party started. So right now, to start the party, let's start off with the 142 million that has been spent by Mikel and and Arsenal, and that is where the focus of this video should be. Obviously, I think we should focus on that. Was it money wasted? Was it a good window? So if you look at the players that we have brought in here, and the question is, how do you rate this window out of 10? That's the big question. How do you rate the window out of 10? Is it a superb window? Is it an average window? Is it one that you feel like 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10? How do you rate the window? Right. These are the 6 signings we made. Ben White, 50 million. Nuno Tavares, 7 million. Sambi Lokonga, 15 million. Those are pounds. Martin Odegaard, 30 million. Aaron Ramsdale, 24 million, and Takehiro Tomiyasu for 16 million pounds. Now, if you look at if you look at that list, it's a total of 142 million pounds, and that's the big question. We have spent the most amount of money in this window. We have actually spent the most amount of money in this window. Is Mikel Arteta backed? Can we say that the manager has eventually been back? Because 142 million, based on our problems, it looks like we spent the right amount of money. But did we spend it on the right players? Because for me, I was actually, I was looking at Arsenal spending that money, spending around 150 million pounds in this summer. That was my anticipation, and that is what I had speculated right from the start, that we could spend at least 150. We had so many problems. We needed a midfielder, we needed a striker, we needed two fullbacks at left back and a right back, and I also think we needed a backup goalkeeper. If you put that into context, if you just put it into context and ask yourself, has Mikel Arteta been backed? I think the easy answer you're gonna say is yes, he's been backed. Because how many clubs have spent 142 million in this summer? Probably, in the Premier League, we have spent the most, followed by Manchester United, then followed by, I think, Chelsea, and then followed by, I think, Manchester City as well. They have spent, they have spent some, good amount of money. So, have we spent well? How do you rate our transfer window? That is the big question. So, in my opinion, this is what I'm allowed to say. In most cases, as Arsenal fans, we want our club to do well, and definitely, we want these big signings to come in, the likes of Jack Grealish. You remember when the window was just starting, we were linked with very many players, the likes of Jack Grealish, James Maddison, Andre Onana, and a couple of them. But the big question is, are they in fit of our budget? Does our budget stretch that far? Would we have signed Maddison and Jack Grealish and maybe Harry Kane and maybe Erling Haaland and then stayed on the budget? I think it was never going to happen. So what we had to do was to go for cheaper options, just like we have always done. The Cronkies have always done that. We always go for the cheaper options. We always go for 10 million players, 20 million players, 16 million. And if you look at this, if you look at this, we've actually spent 142 million, but the most expensive signing is 50 million, followed by a 30 million signing of Martin Odegaard. So for me, that absolutely speaks volumes of what Arsenal were trying to do and what they wanted to do in this transfer window and in the transfer summer. But the big question now is, did we spend the 142 million on the right players? That's it. Did we spend this amount of money on the right players? Let's go one by one. We needed a centre back. With William Saliba already now, being on the wrong side of Mikel Arteta, Arsenal were definitely going to sign in a centre back. We decided to go for Ben White, who I think is not a bad signing, by the way. A couple of people might argue otherwise, but I don't think Ben White is a bad signing. I don't think Ben White is a poor signing. Yeah. It's a little bit prudent. Many people just, I think we made the signing focusing on the future. That's it. We just made the signing focusing on the future, but it was not a signing that Arsenal made, really to impact, to impact our current, to impact our current squad at the moment, right? So it's one for the future, just like many of the signings we have made. But 50 million in Ben White, I think we could have gone for a player like Tyrone Mings. How about that? If you had gone for a player like Tyrone Mings, how about that? Because I don't know if Aston Villa would sell, but I think Tyrone Mings, we've seen him. We've seen what he did, with England in the Euros. I think he's a very, very good centre back, by the way. And we've seen him at Aston Villa for quite some time now. If we had gone for Tyrone Mings, I think it would have been, a better signing than Ben White. Now, that doesn't mean Ben White is a bad signing, but I think Ben White, I think Tyrone Mings would have been a better signing in my case, if you had decided to go for a centre back. Apart from that, if you look at our priorities, what our priorities were, and how a centre back just emerged on top of the hierarchy, to have a centre back as our priority was also very, was amazing, but not threatening, and actually not overwhelming, because Rob Holding had a bad season. We've got to speak fast about this. Rob Holding had a very poor season, very poor season, and Arsenal needed to get in someone who was more consistent than David Luiz. Obviously, we knew it right from the start that David Luiz was going to leave the club, at the end of the summer. Arsenal tried to get him to sign a new contract. He failed. He refused. He objected. He said, "I wanna go. I wanna go somewhere else and play football. I wanna go somewhere where I feel appreciated and things like that." So Luiz left. But signing Ben White for 50 million, I think Arsenal could have done better than that. I think we could have done better than that. Maybe. Go out there and get a centre back who is not 50 million but can do what Ben White can do, because it's no question Ben White is a good player, but we know that Arsenal are also paying that English premium. At least we that much we know. The Arsenal are paying that that English premium. You're paying up to 20 million because it's English, because he's young, because he went to the Euros, and things like that. So if you look at players like Malang Sarr, he signed for Chelsea on a free last summer, and I think we had the opportunity to get in Malang Sarr. If you still remember last summer, we did talk much about Malang Sarr, in our attempt to get in a centre back. If we brought in such a caliber of player, we got Gabriel Magalhaes on 27 million pounds last summer. We could have done the same. Absolutely, we could have done the same. Go out there, get a defender good enough. 30 million euros. He's not English. That means he's not going to cost you 50 to 60 million. So I think with Ben White we could have saved up to 20 million on that. So with the Ben White signing, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Not because of not because the player is not good enough. I've talked about Ben White. Definitely, I've said he's one of those players that you can trust to play for you 30 games in a season. He's very consistent. He's young. He has a big potential, a higher ceiling, and he fits into the project of what Arsenal want to do. But we could have done better at a cheaper price. So Ben White for me, 5 out of 10. All right, moving on to the next one is Nuno Tavares. I don't have any issues with Nuno. Definitely a backup left back for 8 million euros plus some add-ons to make it 10 million euros. I don't think I do have issues there. Now I know that there are a couple of people who could have issues with this one, but personally I don't have any issues with this one. I don't have any issues with this one. I think Arsenal just did the right piece of business. We just did the right piece of business with Nuno Tavares. Sid Kolasinac has stayed at the club, and I'm still asking myself, what does that mean? Because if we had gone for the moment we went for Nuno Tavares, it meant that Arsenal knew they wanted to get out Sid Kolasinac. It was one of our priorities, and Sid Kolasinac is still at the club and is starting against Manchester City in 2021. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely, the guy has been here for around, since 2018, 2017, since the Arsene Wenger era, right? So I thought Kolasinac was going to be one of the players that actually move on. And the moment Arsenal failed to move on Sid Kolasinac, I was amazed. I'm not even gonna lie. I was amazed by our failure to move on the guy. I was really amazed. I thought it would be one of the fastest signings to leave the club, Sid Kolasinac. But with Nuno, I think, of course, there is a lot to learn. He just fits into the picture of what Arsenal want to do. That's what we've been told by Vinay and a couple of other outlets. He's just 20, 21. So you know, Arsenal, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to get in young players that can back each other and also form maybe a strong squad that takes back the club where it wants to be. That is what the PR machines at the club, are selling to us at the moment. Nuno, I think it was a wise signing. It was done in time, very fast. So Nuno Tavares, I'll give that one a 7.5 out of 10. If only they had moved on Sid Kolasinac, the Nuno Tavares, signing would have made more sense. But the failure to move on Sid Kolasinac for me, it absolutely makes the whole thing lose sense, lose meaning. And I'm not really trying to say that Arsenal have failed at that. No, we've not actually failed. We've absolutely not failed at that. But I think Sid Kolasinac should have been the key to get in, a backup left back. So let's go with a 7.5 for Nuno Tavares. I think it was a good signing. With Kian Tierney now not very sure whether they can play 90 minutes, whether they can play all the games available. We better be very careful. We better be very, very careful. So I'll go with a 7.5 with Nuno Tavares. I don't know how many people do agree with me, but Nuno, I'll go with a 7.5. All right. Sambi Lokonga, my signing of the summer. Do smash a like a video on the video if you feel like Albert Sambi Lokonga is your signing of the summer. Get that one done. Get that one done. Do smash a like on the video for me if you feel like Albert Sambi Lokonga was your signing of the summer. Because look, definitely I don't know what I should say about this one. But I think Arsenal brought him as a backup to Thomas Partey, and I think he's gonna be a regular player for Arsenal. Look, definitely he's gonna be one regular player, a very, very regular player for Arsenal. After spending all that much, one player that I think has just nailed it is Albert Sambi Lokonga. And the reason, because for me, Albert Sambi Lokonga signing gets an 8 out of 10. Not to Edu, not to Mikel, but the signing overall. Whether they share it, I don't care. Look, we needed a defensive midfielder, and nobody, was much interested in the specifics of what we wanted, because everybody thought it was either gonna be Bissouma or Renato Sanchez or Semawa or anyone, or anyone in that caliber. We ended up with Albert Sambi Lokonga, a signing that many people don't rate highly. He has a high potential, yes. He's a very talented lad, but not so many people do give Albert Sambi Lokonga the kind of respect that I think he deserves. At the end of the day, I think for me, he's my signing of the summer. A DM that can help you sit, that can sit in front of the back four. Number one, can play with Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka with the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe. Very calm, very disciplined, and has the composure and the ability to develop even further into a better player. So Albert Sambi Lokonga, my signing of the summer, I'll give him 8 out of 10. I'll give that signing an 8 out of 10. Aaron Ramsdale is the other one. Now, look, we know, and it has been reported that Mikel advocated for Aaron Ramsdale. He is the player he wanted, and we've looked at all the statistics. I mean, talking about Ramsdale, is he a good player, is he a bad one, and things like that. But I think at the end of the day, we're gonna be surprised. At the end of the day, we're gonna be absolutely surprised. How much would you rate Aaron Ramsdale? I would love to know. I mean, out of 10, how much do you rate Aaron Ramsdale? How much do you rate Aaron Ramsdale? That's the big question. Because for me, I think I would rate Aaron Ramsdale out of 10. The transfer, I would rate it at 6 out of 10. Yes, 6 out of 10. There are a couple of issues to talk about with Aaron Ramsdale. One, there was Andre Onana, there was Matt Ryan. Us spending 24 million on a backup goalkeeper, it was extravagant. The goalkeeper is good, but the strategy was extravagant. If they were talking about going for young players, I think Andre Onana as a goalkeeper who's 25, there was, I mean, it was even, it was wider. It was absolutely wider. So if we had gone for him, if we had gone for Onana, who can actually press Leno even harder, and help him get even better, I think it would have been probably a 7 or an 8. Ramsdale is a good goalkeeper. 22 years of age. We know, very good goalkeeper. He could be a very good backup. And we have already seen his performance against West Brom. You think, he's a very alert goalkeeper. But Arsenal, we didn't have the chance. We couldn't afford to go that luxury. And that is my problem with Aaron Ramsdale signing. We shouldn't have gone that luxurious. It was a luxury to spend 24 million on a backup goalkeeper. For Christ's sake, that is money that could have landed Houssem Aouar. 24 million. We decided to spend it on a goalkeeper who's gonna spend much of his time on the bench. It makes sense to bring in a backup goalkeeper who's good enough because you want two goalkeepers in the same place. But what about the central midfield area that was a priority? What about that? Sell Xhaka for 13 million. Go to West Brom, get in Sam Johnston for 13 million, and then get the 24 million you would have spent on Aaron Ramsdale, and buy Houssem Aouar. That would have been the better business for me. I mean, that is what I would think. It would have been the better business for us. But they decided to go for Aaron Ramsdale. Not the worst signing. Not the worst signing. I know a couple of people are just gonna say Ramsdale, blah blah blah, but I don't think he was the worst signing. Not the worst signing. So 6 out of 10. He has the ability to develop further, and I think he will help to push Leno, a little bit higher. But we could have done better still in that area. Martin Odegaard signing 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10. How much do you give Martin Odegaard? For me, 6.5 out of 10. Now with Martin Odegaard, we did this one because it was the easier one. We've got to agree. I mean, all the players that we could have. Martin Odegaard is almost at the same level as Julian Brandt. So whether we signing in Julian Brandt or Martin Odegaard, for me, it's the same, right? The likes of Joaquin Correa, they're 27, so they're out of the picture of what Arsenal want to do. James Maddison fits into what Arsenal want to do, fits into the picture, but it was a hard transfer to do. It was a very, very hard transfer to do. So look, at the end of the day, I think Martin Odegaard goes for a 6.5 out of 10. I don't know if I'm right, I don't know if I'm wrong, but I'll give him a 6.5, right? I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10. Martin Odegaard, 6.5. 30 million euros. If you think about it, maybe if he blossoms in the future, it will make more sense. But at the moment, Arsenal needed someone to help, to help out on, in the creativity area. I think we already have our shot number 10, in that area. You already have ESR in that area. You have Emile Smith-Rowe. You needed someone who is a little bit a big upgrade on ESR. Now Odegaard is an upgrade on Emile Smith-Rowe, but not that much. So at the end of the day, I still think Arsenal could have done better. I still think Arsenal could have done better in terms of an attacking midfielder. Emi Buendia was there. I don't know why we failed to get in Emi Buendia. I don't know how we failed. Many people are saying that Emi Buendia is just worth 25 million pounds and things like that. But if you had only gotten Emi, I think Emi and Odegaard and Emile Smith-Rowe could all play in the same team. Odegaard as your 10. Emi can play on the flanks as well as Emile Smith-Rowe. So and it could also give us some kind of competition. I would have preferred James Maddison to Martin Odegaard, but he is the one we have, so I'll go for a 6.5 out of 10. How much would you earn? How much would you rate that signing? I'd love to know. And finally, Takehiro Tomiyasu, my man, who replaces Hector Bellerin. Now with Tomiyasu deadline day signing, it is believed that, Edu said we've been tracking the player for some time. It wasn't out of the blue. We are tracking the guy, for some time. We needed a right back. It was essential. It was, everyone knew Arsenal needed to get in a right back. Out of all the other things you can think about, a right back was a necessity. And I do not have any issues with Arsenal going out there and getting in a right back, whether it was Sue or who. I needed us to get ourselves a right back. Now we got in ourselves a right back, and that man is Takehiro Tomiyasu. Many of us don't know much about him, and that could be, potentially be a big problem. But I think let's give the signing, because it was a deadline signing. Let's give it a 5 out of 10. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. If he improves, then probably could go for a much higher rank. But at the moment, I'll give the signing personally a 5 out of 10. So generally, our window for me gets a 4.5 out of 10. Yes, we moved on some kind of deadwood, but Xhaka staying, Sid Kolasinac staying, Bellerin has not gone forever. He's just gone on a loan deal and with no even obligation to buy. The likes of Torreira have just gone on loan deals. We have messed up with Saliba. Matteo Guendouzi has gone for pennies. It's not one window where you would just give a very high mark. So I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 4.5. I don't think it's a window. I don't think we've made signings that take us to top 4. We don't. Our signings don't take us to top 6. And our signings also don't actually take us to the top 7. So we're gonna be in the same area. We're gonna be in the same place. What do you think? Many of you in the chat look like they agree with me, especially Dennis, who says money wasted. This time we'll be 15th position. I think it's too far-fetched. I don't think Arsenal will be 15th. I don't think Arsenal will be 15th unless otherwise. I don't think Arsenal will be 15th. I rated 1 out of 10. This is Dennis. Even if cheap option, but not the right players. Bro, don't try to back up that manager. Jody, I rated 5 out of 10. Rating it at 5 out of 10. I gave it a 4.5. We are close to each other. Arsenal and Arteta and Edu are foolish. There is no good signing. All management foolish, fake Arsenal. Dennis says, Ben White is a 2 out of 10. I don't think it's a 2 out of 10. I think that's so low. I think that is very, very low. But thanks for your opinion. Nuno, 3 out of 10. Sambi Lokonga, 10 out of 10. Lokonga is a good signing, by the way. Lokonga is a very, very good signing. Odegaard, 4 out of 10. That's according to Dennis. Sambi Lokonga, 5 out of 10. Ramsdale, 4 out of 10. Aaron Ramsdale, 4 out of 10. Many of you are really being so strict. I never like Madison. I am glad we didn't sign him. That's according to Nobo. All right. Tomiyasu, 6 out of 10, better than Chambers, 2 out of 10, and Cedric, 1 out of 10. Nobo, Tomiyasu will play at centre back for us. Arsenal will switch at to a back 3. Let's wait and see. Many people have said Tomiyasu is very, very good at playing at centre back. Cossy, you're right. Sambi and Ben White is the best signings of the summer. Hello, Cossy. Japanese are hardworking, like those of Park. Okay, we have time. We have time to we have time to wait and see how things are gonna run. We still have the time, right? We still have the time, right? So let's move on to the next story of the day. I wanted us to talk about Granit Xhaka. Now, Xhaka has come out and said that the red card he received against Manchester City was not right. That's it. It says the red card he received was actually not justified. So this is what he said. Let's head over there. He said, Xhaka on his red card versus Manchester City, I hit the ball 100% and got a red card. The pictures were not checked by VAR. I have seen tougher tackles that weren't even assessed as a foul. Am I prejudiced against? I do not know. So Xhaka thinks it wasn't a red card. It wasn't a foul. VAR made a mistake to actually think he committed a foul. What do you think, people? I'd love to get your thoughts on that. I would absolutely love to get your thoughts on that. Is it a red card for Granit Xhaka? Is it a red card? Is it too harsh in that scenario? Because I wish I could just find the pictures where he gets the red card. I don't think I'll find them. So, that's a big question. Is it a foul? Yes, it is a foul. Is it a red card? Because I think why Xhaka gets that red card is not because he's hitting the player's legs, like he's trying to protect himself. He's an awesome player. We would love to protect him. But I think the reason as why Xhaka gets a red card in that game, in that incident, is he's flying he's flying into the tackle with both of his boots high. That is the reason as to why Xhaka is being sent off the pitch. He's flying in, against Ike Gundogan with both of his feet up in the air. That's the reason as why he's getting a red card. Because it's a dangerous tackle. It didn't harm anyone. He goes for the ball. And he fortunately gets the ball, but his boots are flying. Both his boots are flying in, and I think that's the reason as to why the referee says, you know what, Xhaka, red card, off the pitch. I would love to get your thoughts on that. Did you think it was a red card, or do you think it was a little bit too harsh? Because in his words, Xhaka says, "Am I prejudiced against?" Well, that is a statement. That is a big statement for a player to say. Look, we've seen it on a couple of occasions when Xhaka strangles players, or players do have a fight with Xhaka, and Xhaka is sent off alone. In such scenarios, if you strangle a player, you're not prejudiced against. You have to walk off the pitch. Now, in the last scenario against Manchester City, I think he's flying with his boots high. That could break Ike Gundogan. If his boots land on Ike Gundogan's leg very well, that could have broken Ike Gundogan, right? That could have broken Ike Gundogan. So what do you think? What do you think about that? But we don't have a manager. At times, these players coach themselves. The window is a 2.2 out of 10. Laban says, Cossy, I don't know what's wrong with guys Arteta and Edu. We needed a CDM, absolutely. And Lick Ice Cube says, I see that red card as a positive because now that clown won't play for 3 games. I mean, away from that, yes, Xhaka misses 3 games. And that is a positive for Arsenal, right? That's a positive for Arsenal because he's offering nothing, especially at the beginning of the season. Last season, he tried to be a little bit consistent, put in some good performances, but towards the close of the season, at the beginning of this season, I think Xhaka is finished. And I was happy when he was leaving for Roma because I thought we were going to get in a CM or we were going to get in a CDM, a good one. We failed. But that red card incident, Xhaka should stop, crying. It is a red card. He's flying in on both. It's just like the wrist gems red card. Many people coming out saying, "Oh, wrist gems shouldn't have." It wasn't red card for wrist gems. It wasn't a red card for wrist gems. It was a red card. It was a red card. Because if you watch that Liverpool game, wrist gems, the ball falls onto his body and then it hits his arm. Now, that is, for me, is not the goal scoring opportunity that he's blocking, right? But when the ball hits his arm, the ball does not eventually come out. It actually goes, the ball is actually going into the opposite direction. It is still going for goal. And what Reece James does is, he tries to push the ball. He tries to push the ball off himself, like push it out of goal, push it off himself. And the moment you make that movement with your arms, trying to block the ball, it's a red card. I thought it was that easy. There's something with goes with Granit Xhaka. I love him because he's an Arsenal player. Obviously, I don't rate him, so I'm not even gonna lie. I don't rate him so much, but I think away from that, it was a red card. Definitely, it was a red card. Thanks everybody for watching in. Do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow 10 a.m. Make sure you're locked in.